Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's edition of Harrison's Happy Hour. This week we have Danielle Collins on, World Team Tennis star for Orlando. How you doing, Danielle? Where are you at these days?
Hey, I'm good. I'm at home in Tampa. I'm currently in a parking garage waiting for my next appointment.
All
But I'm
right.
doing well.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're happy to have you on. We were just talking a little bit about what you've been up to. So give us a little bit of a rundown. Quarantine life is about 3 months deep now. So what have you been doing to keep busy these days?
I've kept myself pretty busy with playing tennis. I've got a court in my neighborhood, like at my house. So I've been able to go like 2 times a day and hit. My hitting partner's been with me pretty much the whole time. And my fitness coach is my boyfriend. So, I
There
can
you
still
go.
get my training in. So that's been keeping me really busy. And between all of that, I've been pretty tired. I get to take naps.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped that I actually have time to do that in my schedule right now.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to cook. I didn't really know much about cooking
All
before all
right.
of
All
this.
right.
So that's kind of been fun. I don't know. I used to always eat out like pretty much every meal. And now that more restaurants have been closed, it's kind of forced me to go outside of my shell a little bit and
Yeah, for
invest in
sure.
some cookbooks and try some things out. So,
That's awesome. Well, I feel like if your boyfriend's still charging you for fitness, that you should be charging him for cooking. So maybe there's like some sort of contract negotiation. I can
yeah,
help I can help negotiate that for you if you need any help. But that's awesome. It sounds like that you've really been using this time to capitalize and work hard and continue the training. Everyone's had a little bit different philosophy when it comes to if they wanted to use this for rest or training. But after playing college tennis for 4 years, right, at Virginia and winning NCAA's twice, your career is, I think, about what, 4 seasons deep now? You started in 2016, 2017. Is that right?
yeah, more so in 2017. So
Cool.
actually, yeah, probably about 3 years, I guess.
All right, Danielle, talk about the NCAA title. So I thought it was especially cool that you won NCAAs. A lot of times you see people win NCAAs and then they'll turn pro right away. Talk us through that decision of going back to school and then ultimately winning a second NCAA championship.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised I didn't turn pro after winning it the first time, especially since I had such a good match against Halep and nearly beat her.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew with my financial situation and not, I knew I wasn't going to be able to have the financial support that I would need to have a successful career. I knew that I needed to stay in school
Right.
because I felt like I kind of would develop the right relationships and get more experience under my belt with the tennis. And then,
Hmm.
if I could win it again, I feel like I would make the right connections that
Yeah.
would then enable me to have the right type of people behind me supporting me. And I think it was a good decision. So yeah, there's part of me that sometimes like thinks back and I'm like, I wonder if I would have turned pro earlier, what if I would have had much more experience under my belt
Hmm.
playing at the WTA level, because it kind of took me about a year to
Right.
break into the top 200 and 150 to be able to qualify for like the big events.
Right.
So there's part of me that sometimes is like, okay, what would it have been like if I would have had those 2 extra years of experience? But then at the
Hmm.
same time, I think back to where I was at that time, and I don't know if I would have had the maturity and the same mentality that I have now. So yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I think it's interesting because, if you look at your results, I mean, within a year and a half or 2 years, you were starting to put up really big results. First with the semifinals of Miami and then the semifinals of the Australian Open. Those are two huge results. So obviously, coming out and then having those big results so early on into your professional career, that shows how well you did mature in college and how actually pro ready your game was. So obviously nobody can say anything about your decision making because clearly you were able to transition straight into the pros with a lot of success and come out with a boom. And then that ultimately decided the captain of the Fed Cup team, Miss Kathy Rinaldi, to select you for Fed Cup. Talk about that experience. How was that?
Yeah, it was cool playing, along a team. I don't get to experience that much now that, I'm playing like the full WTA schedule. So anytime I can play on a team, I'm really pumped about it. I love, the fact that I'm going to get to play world team tennis this year
Right.
and be a part of a team, the camaraderie that you get to share with
Right.
everybody and the energy. It's just
Are you
something you don't
disappointed you're not
really,
on my team?
yeah, we would have been like fire together. You know what I mean? Like, we go out on the court and people would just go crazy with our
We would have been
attitude. So
either
I don't
really,
know.
really good, or we'd have been ready to like kill each other. I'm not sure if like you would have thrown rackets at me, or if you'd have hit serves at me, or like what would have happened. But I think it would have been a lot of fun because we both have that sort of fire to feed off each other. So we could have either been a force, or there could have been some pending legal charges. It's just kind of up in the
Yeah,
air.
true. True. Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
think it would have
cool. Yeah.
given the fans a lot to talk about though, because with both of our personalities, like,
Very entertaining. They'd be like, this
yeah,
is two peas in a pods right here. Both of them look like they're seething, and it just looks like it works in harmony. So that's awesome. Well, so you talked about World Team Tennis being a team event, which obviously you're used to playing on a team after having that success in college and being used to that format. So when that opportunity presented itself to play World Team Tennis, was that something you were really looking forward to doing and kind of jumping at to try and play that format again?
yeah. I played one World Team Tennis match last year, and I was bummed that I didn't get to play more. So
Right.
when they came to me and asked me if I wanted to play, I was like, yes, 100%. I
Of
thought it was going
course.
to be so much fun, and yeah, it's just kind of a nice switch up in the middle of the year too. After playing so many tournaments individually, I think it's just such a nice break. But now too, like with no tournaments going on, I think it's going to be super exciting that will be like one of the first sporting events that starts again. So
Yeah, definitely. And with everything being in the same city, which is now the announcement that everything's going to be played in the same city for obvious quarantine purposes, and everyone kind of working with the way that things are in these times, it'll be a lot of fun. You have a lot of friends and family that'll be close and kind of supporting, and then we can all hang out, have a good time. I'm going to do that thing where I take you guys out and pretend like we're friends, and I'll just be taking water shots while you're taking tequila, and then we'll play you guys the next day. So just be ready for that, because I've got some tricks up my sleeves that I'm gonna throw in there. So I just really want to keep you on your toes. Maybe we'll have to sub each other in and play against each other in mixed doubles. That could be a little bit of fun.
yeah, for sure.
That would be fun. Anyways, let's
Christian
talk a
might
little
get
bit
jealous.
about.
Christian might get jealous
Oh
though,
yeah,
so don't
Christian
want to
would get
make Christian
very jealous.
jealous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, where your boyfriend's stance is with your relationship with the Harrison family, but Christian, Christian's always had his little infatuation with Danielle Collins. So nobody's in the dark about that. I think you've even called him out on Instagram before, which was hilarious. One of the best moments of my life personally was Christian getting called out on Instagram. So I loved that
Yeah,
moment.
it's funny. Like when we practice with each other, because like we'll still hit together. I'll have to tell him like, all right, Christian, my boyfriend's here today, so you can't flirt with me. And
Oh
he just
wow! And
dies, and your
how does
dad
he take
dies
it?
every time I say that. I'm like, you can't flirt with me today because my boyfriend's here.
That's amazing. I love that someone's giving it back to him, because Christian, he needs that. We all of us Harrisons need to be humbled sometimes. So I'm glad that you can be part of that humbling experience, because we certainly need it at times. It's good. It's good for the humanity to have that in your life. So talk a little bit about some of your favorite things to do on the road. Whenever you're traveling, it's a 30-week-a-year grind. You're on the road all the time. What do you do besides tennis to kind of keep yourself switched off and refreshed and ready to play?
Um, well, a lot of times between tournaments, or even if it's at the end of a couple weeks of traveling in a row and I'm getting ready to go home, I like to take a couple of days and pick a spot that's close to go check out. So when I was in Australia, we went to Byron Bay for a couple days, and that
Wow,
was
that's really
really
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, just depending on where I'm at. So like last year, for example, when I was in Europe after the French Open, I went to south of France for 5 days and got to
Wow.
go along the French Riviera and did a bunch of really cool
Wow,
things.
that's
We went
so
sailing one
cool.
day.
I
Yeah.
think
So
that tennis players kind of get like a bad reputation for amongst ourselves for like as soon as we leave, we just instantly leave that city and then just instantly go home. So it's so cool that you learn to kind of like take it all in and kind of work the travel experience that you get and the actual like sites you can see around the world because of this job. Because you actually talk to some people, and it's sad because some of them look at the travel as like a burden a little bit, not necessarily an excitement, which I understand, because at the end of a 8 week trip, sometimes you're kind of itching to be home. But in the
yeah.
right place, right time, it's really cool that you get to see some of those things. So awesome hobby that you're able to pick up on there. If you're talking about like things you do you watch a lot of Netflix? Do you watch movies? Do you do the stuff like that when you're in the tournament to kind of shut off? Or what would be like a typical night before a match? Like give us the night before your Australian Open semifinals. How did you relax and stay calm?
Oh gosh. I'm too like ADHD to get into shows. I just can't. There's not many shows that I can watch seasons of.
It takes too much
So
commitment.
yeah, it takes too much commitment. So I'm more of a movie
All right.
person.
So commitment issues. I'll make sure I tell my brother that part of it. So. Just
you break
kidding.
his heart.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, like before the Australian Open, you know, I felt like I was so busy throughout the day preparing and then trying to prepare for the next day. And then on my days off, I loved, you know, in Melbourne, there's so much good shopping. So I was staying in a great location where I could just walk to a couple different places, walk around, look around. And so I did that, and I love trying, you know, different food. I'm a big foodie. Who's not? I mean,
yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like
And that's
everybody's
one of
a
the
foodie.
yeah. When you travel and you get to see so many different cuisines, it's so cool to kind of like see the different touches that each culture puts on. Maybe some of the things that you've typically eaten your whole life, but with the different areas, different textures, and things like that. It's really cool to see all of it. Now, when you're walking around and you're shopping, and you're in the last 4 of the Australian Open, were you getting recognized a lot? Like, how did that go? Because you went from kind of, people probably wouldn't have known you in Australia to all of a sudden you're playing in arguably the biggest, the biggest Friday match. I think it was a Friday match, if I'm not mistaken, that the Australian Open has, the women's semifinal. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, and then sometimes not. I'd get like a couple messages on Instagram asking me, were you on Collins today doing some shopping and walking around?
Well, let's talk about what you do if you want to have a cheat day. What's your cheat day like? If you're not playing tennis, you're at home, give me like a perfect cheat day for Danielle Collins.
With food or?
With anything to do. It could be going out, it could be eating, it could be whatever you like to do to just like, if you get a day where you're like, all right, I just really want to forget about the fact I'm supposed to be professional and do whatever I want to do.
I love going to the Lightning games in Tampa. They're so much fun.
Awesome.
And I love, like, hockey's so different from tennis. Like, I love watching team sports and, seeing everybody work together. That's fun. And I love getting the club seats because then you can get unlimited drinks and food. So you can just kind of go out there and hang out for a couple hours, and then afterwards you can walk to the bars and catch up with friends. And
what's your drink of choice when you're when you're going, when you're raging and you're cheering for the fights or the hockey games? I know you're fiery, you like to see that sort of intensity, so give me what's your drink of choice?
Oh, I like whiskey. I like a good whiskey Coke. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I love whiskey Coke myself, so that's a it'd be easy to go to the bar and get you a drink because I'd just be ordering what I order myself. I wouldn't forget it. So
yeah, there
we go.
I'm pretty easy. Cool. I like wine too. I kind of go back and forth. I used to like vodka lemonade. I would always get that, but now I've been doing more whiskey Cokes the last couple of years, and now I'm getting more into wine too. Like, I'm learning more about it. So
yeah, you didn't go through like a light beer phase in college like most people do?
A what?
Like a light beer phase in college where everyone's just crushing light beer at the mixers?
You know what? Not really, because for some reason, like, whenever I drink beer, it just makes my stomach, like, I can only have like 1 or 2. It just makes my stomach like feel really bloated.
I feel you there too. Quarantine life, I've learned very quickly that I cannot drink that much beer because, early on in the quarantine, I was like, oh, this is great. I can just have a beer and chill and watch some shows. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I've had a beer like 6 nights in a row, and now this is not good. I got to go run a lot. So, well, that's awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us today. It was awesome to get to talk to you. We hadn't had a chance to catch up in a while, so it's good to see your face and hear that you're doing well. Thanks for joining us, and can't wait to see you on the World Team Tennis Tour. That'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully we have that going on soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
We're going to have a good time.
I just hope you don't have to play me. That's all I'm going to say.
I
just hope that you don't have to play me and we don't cross paths, because you won't like it when I kick your ass.
Well, we will. We'll see about that. But if you're playing too well, I might request a trade.
Okay, you better put that request in soon enough.
Put it in early. Thanks, Danielle. Take care.
All right. Bye, Ryan.
Bye.